Hey fly tiers, Darren here. Welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. Today we're going to be tying the Brownline Nymph. This is a simple fly pattern that I've developed over the last few sessions out on the water. I was looking for something with a fairly slim profile and a bit of a heavier body that's going to get down into the strike zone fairly quick. So we've got a tungsten bead on this. Got a thread body with no dubbing, so we don't have to worry about water penetration in this, and we've got a thin tail. For the thorax, I've used a split thread dubbing technique, and we'll show you that at the end. Don't forget to leave a comment down below so you can get entered into our next draw for flies and decals. Let's have a look at the material list and get started. Alright, let's get our hook here. We're going to place a tungsten bead on there. We're going to be using a gold colored tungsten bead. For the hook, I'm using a Firehole 516. This is a jig style hook. It's a heavy wire with a 1 extra wide gape, and it's a barbless hook. The tungsten is a 3.3 mil for the size 12. We're going to be using UTC thread 140 denier, and part of the reason I use the 140 and the UTC is that it sits nice and flat, so it'll be great for forming our body. We're going to make a tapered body on this nymph, and we're also going to split the thread, and the UTC is actually one of the best threads for splitting. So first we're going to take a little bit of Pardo or Coq de Lion, and this is a medium Pardo whiting Coq de Lion. We're going to take a few of the fibers off of a feather. I would say taking probably between 10 to 12 fibers here. And we're going to tie this in about the length of the hook. I like these to be a little bit long overall. And we'll tie that in a little bit on the side and then crank it over so that it sits straight onto the hook. We'll wrap that just behind the bead and trim off the excess. Next we're going to take a piece of ultrawire. We're going to be using the Chartreuse color. This has a nice contrast with the brown thread. It gives a really prominent segmentation to the fly. And this is going to be veiled a little bit, so it's not going to be overpowering. So I'm going to use the Chartreuse, and I'm using the small size here. The brassy size is a little bit too large for this fly, so either the small or the extra small would be good for this fly. And we just want to basically tie in that wire along the side of the hook shank. And just want to try and cover up the wire completely with our thread wraps. Now we're going to start building a little bit of taper into a body. So once you have the thread completely covered, you don't want to go back right to the base of the tail. You want to kind of just go back a little bit less each time you go back, and that way you build up a nice little taper. I just want to make a mention here. One thing I should have done that I didn't is push that bead down just to release it from the thread here. So now we're just going to wrap our ribbing forward, and then we're going to tie it off right behind the bead. Want to make sure that you go on both sides of that thread, and then we're just going to pull it up to secure it up top and give that a little twist. Pop it off. I'm going to use a little bit of bone dry. And we just want to put a really thin coat, kind of let that soak into the thread wraps. You want to make sure you get all sides, top and bottom. That's just going to form a nice protective coating on top of that fly. We'll go ahead and hit that with the UV light. You just want to make sure that that gets cured on all sides. So make sure you either rotate your light or rotate your fly just to make sure that the UV resin gets cured on all sides. And so now we'll grab some of that UV brown ice dubbing. And then what we're going to try and do is we're going to take a needle. We're going to try and split this UTC in half if we can. So for the dubbing, we just want to take out a small amount. And I'm just going to put it aside so that I have it easily accessible once I open up that loop. So just put it on my lap as I'm tying. Now if you have a needle or a pin, that should work to kind of help you find the center of that. As long as you can get through, it doesn't have to be exactly the middle. You just want to kind of open up a bit of a gap in there, just enough that you can stick in a little bit of dubbing in there. So we're going to take the dubbing that we set aside, and we're going to stick that in between those two threads. So essentially this is a dubbing loop made from a single strand of thread. So once we got that in place, we want to kind of put it in about halfway. Then we're going to spin our thread to coil it up and kind of trap all that ice dubbing in there. Just want to kind of pull away any excess. And then we're going to sort of hackle it, like soft hackle. So we'll wrap it and pull it back. We're a little bit light here, but that's okay for this one. And as you can see, I should have pushed that bead back a little bit earlier, but this one's still going to be a great fishing fly. I'm not going to have to worry too much about that. We're going to add a whip finish to the fly and cut off the thread. And we're going to take this one out tomorrow with us, try it out on the river. Hey fly tyers, thanks for stopping by and checking out my fly tying videos. If you enjoyed the video and want to show your support, hit the thumbs up and share it to your social networks. I hope you consider subscribing to the channel, and if you do, be sure to hit the bell icon to get notifications on my latest fly patterns, tips, and reviews. If you have a question or comment, leave a message below. You'll also be entered into the next draw for some of the flies I tie and a few stickers. Until next time, this is Darren saying, keep a hook in your vise. Cheers.